Cisco 49 is deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99.
This is the 49er Faithful UK show, and that was week 8. The Dallas Cowboys visit Levi's and head home beaten. It's like a universal constant, and it never fails to make Victory Monday that little bit more fun. The Niners move to 4-4 and into a much-needed bye week. We will break it all down. I'm Gareth Ellis, and I'm joined by Paul Hope.
Victory Monday, baby.
Woohoo. Lee Gowland.
Yeehaw, fellas.
Excellent. And Najee Karar.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you. Good to see you. A lot more smiling
Likewise.
faces than this time last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
And a better performance. So hopefully you've got some talking points that reflect this if you've done your homework, Najee Karar.
I have not.
Okay. Okay, well, you've got the time between Paul and Lee's to work something out.
Make something up.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Who's going to start? Paul, you've always done your homework.
That's true, yep. First point, how about them rookies?
Mm-hmm.
National Tight End Day. Talk about saving the best till last, chaps. The tight end showed out, but no one's star shone brighter than George Kittle on primetime. And last but not least, we'll save that for later. Red zone offense has been a talking point the last few weeks. We scored 3 touchdowns in 4 trips, and it could have been 4 out of 4. But more about that in Play Watch.
Okay, so I've gone in completely a different direction, and thinking about it, possibly a negative direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mean to. I've just noticed something. Well, that looks fairly negative. Okay, so point 1, defense still doesn't look on point. Point 2, Kyle forgets about Purcell in the second half. And point 3, great time for a bye week.
Wonderful. That is good. Najee, have you managed
unfortunately,
No, go for it.
Work's been a bit crazy. I haven't been able to watch the game, and then I put it on kind of today. It was one of those inset day where my daughter wasn't in school and Annalise was working, so I was with her all day. So I kind of watched it, but not really. So I'm going to try and I'm going to go with Garando. I think he had a good game. We need to talk about him. Purcell, same. I mean, the rookies is a good point. And then George, National Tight End Day. What a great holiday that is. I do like it. I think it's fun. Even though Jimmy G and Kittle invented it, which is a bit, but let's give it to Kittle.
George invented it, really.
Yeah.
Some consistency, which is nice to see. I have also got rookies rise. Got a little bit on the defense, bit of pass coverage, boom and bust, and Kittle shines on National Tight End Day. Where should we start? Paul, rookies. I think we could talk about the rookies for some time. So start us off. Pick a rookie. Who impressed?
I've got to go with my boy, Isaac Garendo. I'm smiling, Najee, because last year I went for Ronnie Bell, and we all know how that turned out for Play Watch. So Isaac Garendo thrust into action because running back number 1 had to take his leave of absence. Jordan Mason, get well soon. The 4th touchdown that I was alluding to, seeing Garendo slide, I kind of was gutted because obviously he's on my Play Watch. He'd have had 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys. But Lee mentioned it the other week. Garendo had this reputation for hearing his name and then kind of being stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And in that second quarter, when the offense was struggling, he put together 2 massive runs, which obviously he showed what he did in college. He hit that gap, and Bobby Turner has been working with him. So it was great to see Garendo get more touches. I did think Patrick Taylor might have come in, Najee, when Mason went out, but to see Garendo kind of put the team on his back, that was pretty good. Obviously, Discord was loving it with the Garendo nickname. So I obviously cheated with my talking point about the rookies, but I wanted to talk about Garendo. I'm sure all of you agree with me that he had a great game last night. What do you reckon, Lee?
Yeah, completely agree with that. And I actually made a note about those 2 runs because they were back-to-back plays. He did. He looked very good. I was over the moon that he slid. At first, I thought he'd slid out of bounds rather than slid on the field itself. So I was a little bit concerned that the clock was going to stop, but it didn't. He did look. He looked really good. As you said, Bobby Turner's been working with them. He was hitting the gaps. He was creating missed tackles, and he looked very good. And I think we're going to have to rely on him quite a bit down the stretch, because one of the other things that I've got in my notes is that the running back core are quite beat up now. We start to see a lot of injuries in that group.
We always do.
Could be, yeah. Well, you do.
Well, we always do.
Luckily enough, obviously CMC's coming back for the Tampa game, but it could have been the Guerrero and Patrick Taylor show going forward, because obviously Jordan Mason picked up another injury, hurt his shoulder again, the same shoulder. So yeah, and it'll go back to one of my other points. Great time for a bye week.
Do you not think as well, Lee, like with Guerrero, like when he first came in, he was hitting those 3-4 yard runs, which were important. You put a couple of them together. But like you said, he was getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage. So the last few weeks, he's teased that explosive speed. I mean, 85 yards was his biggest role yet last night. A touchdown on 14 attempts. So it wasn't like he had the rock 50, 60 times. You know, he had 14 attempts. And Kyle's notorious for trusting a rookie. Not trusting a rookie, shall I say. And it's quite nice to see that Guerrendo's getting those opportunities and he's making the most of it. I mean, as a running back, Nadji, I know you haven't fully watched the game, but you'll have seen the flashes and you'll have seen the bits on social media. It was why I went for him in the draft when we did that show. He kind of had that Kyle Shanahan boom or bust, and I liked what I saw in college. So what do you think, Nadji?
Yeah, it's nice to see that he hasn't completely lost the trust, despite Patrick Taylor looking better the last time those two were in. And then it's good to see that. And I think that's what you got to do with running backs anyway. You kind of put one in and see if it gets hot. And if it doesn't, then you put the other one and see if something changes, because they are slightly different players. No, it was good to see, especially, it was early in the third round when we really started running on them, which is, I mean, we called during the preview that they didn't have a good run defense, and that whoever was going to be running the ball was going to have a good day. So I'm not really surprised, but it's good that he's managed to take the horns by the bull by the horn even, and kind of drive through and score a touchdown. It's good to see. I kind of, when Mason went, AC joints he's gonna have that the whole season. That's something that does not heal until you get a good 2 or 3 months off. But you can play with it. It's just when the pain flares up, it's very, very painful. So I think that's Jordan's going to have to deal with that until February, unfortunately. But it's good to see. I said this. I think it was in a review last week, that the system that Kyle Shanahan has for running back is incredible. I mean, the Raheem Mostert and Wilson, and how many we had now. This is number 12 and 13 running back that's just doing well. But it's good because he's young and he can get better, which means when CMC does get back, hopefully Kyle can learn to spread the ball a little bit more so we can keep them healthy, because I think that's one thing he does do pretty badly is share the rock. When one is hot, that's him and nobody else. And unfortunately, it tends to lead to injuries and then we have to rely on somebody else. But no, it's good to see. It's good to see progression. That's what you want to see out of your rookie. You don't want to see regression or stagnation. So, good. I'm happy that.
Just before we move on from Guerrero, Gareth, one thing Lee was critical of, it was the yards after catch when he was getting wrapped up. He had 4.3 yards after contact last night, which was the 5th best amongst all running backs in week 8. And he had 3 10-plus yard carries and 7 carries where he reached 15 miles per hour. So he was showing off that speed, Lee, because you mentioned it, I think, a couple of weeks ago. You were like, Guerrendo's name stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And every time I get the ball now and he gets stopped for 3 or 4 yards, I think
I've got to say, I'm not getting too excited about 15 mile an hour.
No, that's not great.
No,
20 is more where you want to be.
Yeah. 20 plus, then I'm getting excited. So, but he is doing a lot better. It's good to see.
And he looks fast on the eye. I think we've seen Jordan Mason just seems to power through. He's like he bulldozes his way through and plows through players. I've noticed Guerrero seems to kind of ghost past players a lot more. He seems to have found those. He's clearly a smaller player, and he seems to thread through.
I think he's one of those guys that He's a bit smaller, isn't it? And it doesn't look fast, but he is fast. And by the time you realize he's coming at you, he's already
Yeah, he's tall and slim
past you. Yeah, it's
for a
awesome,
running back.
and he's got a long stride, which it's deceiving the speed he can reach. I think he's got a very good quickness. He can get up to speed pretty
Yeah,
fast, which is
Baldy put an angle on Najee of one of the runs from the All-22, and he showed the patience. And when he hit that
yeah, he
hole,
hits
and
it
he went.
fast.
He even had a Ronnie Bell moment, Lee, where he was juggling it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
He caught it, and I was a bit like, "Oh no, Garendo Gowland's waiting to jump on you, son."
I think
But he recovered it well.
he did. He caught 3 passes, so
Yeah.
that's a good sign as well. It's
That
probably
is a
more
good
than
sign,
Mason has caught. So
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. That's a good point.
A good rookie performance. Another rookie. I'm going to fold in one of Lee's here, so we'll start with Lee. Kyle forgets his Purcell.
Yeah, so I mean, he was targeted 4 times in the first half with 4 catches, and he was doing really well. And then he largely forgot about him in the second half. He had a run of I think 39-yard run midway through the fourth quarter, but he wasn't targeted again as a receiver in the second half, which I was quite surprised about because he looked really good in the first half. And to be honest, I'd rather see Purcell targeted a lot more than Debo, because I've always turned around and said I don't like Debo's hands. I think he's got suspect hands. I would like to see Purcell come on a little bit more and be targeted a bit more. But yeah, I mean, he had a great game.
Yeah.
Do you think that could have potentially been because of Debo sitting out in the second half? So Purcell's getting the attention and the coverage.
Potentially, yeah, probably.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we did bring Ronnie Bell on for 1 target in the in the second half. You can guess how that went.
That just shows Carl's got a sense of humour, doesn't it? So.
Carl's struggling
does,
when it comes to Ronnie Bell. It's interesting, though, you said about his targets. I mean, Purcell ended up earning 40 snaps, Samuel 42. But I think what was interesting, against the Chiefs, he played predominantly in the slot. But last night he seemed to move around.
Yeah, he did.
We always joke about the trick plays and the end arounds and the jet sweeps. That was perfect for Purcell's speed, that end around when he just took it and zipped up for like 30, 40 yards. I thought he was breaking for his touchdown. I thought this is going to be the moment, because obviously
he's quick.
Well documented the recovery.
You know what?
From the
Chris
injury.
Collinsworth, he does my absolute nutting. So on that run, after they were doing the analysis of the run, he came out with, well, he's not a great receiver, he's not a great runner, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's the guy's second game.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
It's his second game, and he's coming out with crap like this. He hits 49ers.
He had good hands. And I mean, I'm glad you went down Purcell. I mean, we joked in the preview show that the Niners would get 500 yards of total offense. We had to settle for 469. 179 yards came from Garendo and Purcell. So it just goes to show that sometimes the rookie's given a chance to shine. And I thought Ricky played well last night, Najee. He's got that speed, and his route running's pretty crisp, isn't it, compared to Debo?
Yeah, same again.
Good hands.
I think what you want to see is growth out of your rookie, and especially when you miss a large chunk of the off season because you got shot. It's always going to be a tall order to be even ready. So the fact that he can just get basically 80 yards all purpose, it's pretty good. I don't think we would have expected him to. That run was amazing. Just also proves that Kyle listens to the pod when we ask for, jet sweeps, but run by other people.
My first thought as well.
Yeah, right. So it's good. It's good. And then you gave him the chance to do it, and he just got 40 yards out of it. So again, it's one of those. It's an extra weapon. We're missing Ayuk. Somebody's going to have to step into that role. And it looks like, I'm not saying Purcell is going to be at that level just yet. Obviously, Ayuk is a fifth-year player, but it looks like him with a couple of years, he might just get there, and that's pretty good. That's where you want all of your draft picks. But yeah, no, it's good to see. It's good to see that he got a little bit of a connection with Brock. 4 catches in one half is pretty decent. And then Brock is going to start trusting him more, and when we're back at full strength, it might get even more target. Let's not forget JJ wasn't there, so he was basically a receiver number 2 after Debo, and when Debo is gone, he's receiver number 1. So yeah, he's gonna draw that double coverage and get their best cornerback. So a little bit of a tall order to play in the NFL as your second game, I think. Diggs covering you everywhere, even though Diggs isn't that good of a corner, but still. No, it's good. Again, growth from rookies. That's exactly what you want to see. That's what we are seeing, and on top of that, they help you win the game. It's perfect, basically.
I think we always forget Dominic Pooney is still a rookie, still into his 8th game, and we rarely talk about him, which we always say is good for your offensive lineman. Your player watch, Lee. I should hand this over to you first, since he is your lad.
It's hard to come with a new superlative for him because he just had another excellent game. He's solid. I can't remember which analyst made the comment, but they basically said, it's similar to what you've just said, you wouldn't have thought he was a rookie. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. Yeah. You can see that already.
Offensive Rookie of the Year at guard. What do we reckon?
Yeah, good luck with that.
last night, Gareth, he faced 34 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed, 0 sacks allowed, and then I dug a bit deeper, and he hasn't allowed a sack through the first half of the season in 270 total pass blocking snaps, and he got his chance because of injuries in training camp.
Yeah,
I think he was supposed to be a stash and see what he was going to be like. And like you said, Lee, he's just got better and better. I think in our season preview, we called him Steady Eddie. We definitely need a new nickname because he's definitely outshining his fourth round.
He's the Punisher. So, that's his nickname. Come on, Paul. He's the Punisher.
Really.
I can't steal your thunder, boss.
Again, it's growth, another solid performance, and I do generally believe that it makes Colton McKivitz better as well, because McKivitz doesn't have to worry about a rookie blowing his assignment and then him have to picking up the slack. So, no, yeah, it's good. He plays guard, so pass stance is a little bit easier than a tackle. You don't have to deal with defensive ends, superstars. You have to deal with D tackles. So yeah, it's good. And then we're running really well to the right. So there's no else you can ask for this guy. Hopefully he can keep on improving and people aren't going to figure him out, because that's also something the NFL is very good at. Let's not forget. As soon as there's a ton of film on him, I hope he can keep on improving to stay on top of his game. So it's only his first year. I wouldn't be surprised if next year he has a little bit of a dip and then back up again, as rookies tend to do. But again, great to see a good draft paying up.
Yeah, looking like a bit of a steal. Some rookies on defense are getting a lot of snaps as well. Yeah. Malik Mustafa had a good game last week, a bit quieter this week.
Yeah. No, not really.
I mean,
a bit quieter. He had 2 back-to-back plays in the second quarter, which were outstanding. So the first one was he stopped a touchdown in the end zone.
The pass in the end zone.
That was with 3:44 left in the second quarter. Immediately after that, it was a brilliant tackle by Mustafa, which allowed Green to force the fumble. So there was 2 back-to-back plays, which were absolutely excellent. When I saw the Lamb touchdown right at the end of the game, at first I thought that was Mustafa who'd blown the coverage there, but it wasn't. So I'm glad to say that. Looking through the whole game, I don't think he put a foot wrong yesterday, and I thought he was pretty good. He didn't have any missed tackles from what I saw, and I did make a note of who missed tackles and when they were missed. As you can tell, because defense still doesn't look on point, was my first talking point. But yeah, Mustafa is looking every bit the safety I thought he was going to be when we drafted him.
You mentioned him, Renardo Green. Had a decent game, I felt.
Yeah,
he's Yadam is definitely a special teams player now. I think Green seems to be getting the snaps. I think
Yadam was still in a fair chunk. I think Yadam's going to be that guy that can make a good play, but also can absolutely kill us. That's just traveling cornerbacks tend to do usually. This guy's been bouncing up and down the league for a while. So Green, a good performance. Again, I didn't really have my eye on him particularly, but Dak couldn't really do anything apart from throwing to CeeDee Lamb a few times. Again,
that's Dak.
Yeah, that is Dak. That's true.
He was our highest graded defensive player.
Yeah, wow, that's good. That's very good.
90, I think. And he played 45 snaps to Yedam's 9
Oh, okay, only 9,
on
right?
defensive. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
So, I
fair
mean,
enough.
there's a lot of talk about the contracts and the team getting expensive, and it's good to see the likes of Mustafa, Green,
Yeah.
J.R. Brown. You forget he's still kind of learning his trade. And when we came into this season, I think people were worried about that secondary, and the young players are showing up. I think it was Green's fault, Lee. I think he ran into Mustafa.
No, it wasn't.
CD last
So,
round.
so
Wasn't
I
that
thought that initially.
Right.
To me, that was on J.R. Brown. J.R. Brown took a poor angle to get to his coverage man, and he ran into Green.
Yeah,
Green
he
didn't
wipes
run
out
into
Green.
him because Green was right next to his man. So I put that blame down to Brown for that.
Yeah, that's learning steps, though.
Yeah.
Expect that from a second-year player.
We're talking
Well,
about we're talking about the rookies and we're talking about the cornerbacks now. I think it's unbelievable that we've managed to draft the second highest rated cornerback in the NFL at the moment. It's just a shame that he doesn't play for us anymore. And he's playing for the
Here we
Colts.
go.
Here we go. He's playing on a really bad team.
You need to let Sammy go. You know,
can't
you
do it.
had
I
something
just can't
beautiful
do it.
together, and you just got to realise that he's moved on with his life, and you should do the same.
So get your rabbit out. Get your rabbit out because here we go. So he's got a rating of 80.2 for run defense. And you know when we said, he's going to get let go, because we could all see the writing on the wall after the Super Bowl, even before the Super Bowl. And we kind of thought we'd heard the rumours about, well, Kyle's not really happy with his physicality in the game, in the run game. Well, I mean, he's rated 80.2 in the run game. So it can't be that.
Not that you're bitter,
I might
but
put
we
it in
know
bed
you're
now.
invested.
I might put it in bed now.
We know you're invested, buddy. But yeah, it's the rookie class, guys.
mean-
I think we've done well this year.
I've just pulled up his snap count. He doesn't play all that much. He's basically on a dime package, I think.
No, he's
But he
playing
plays
outside
like
corner.
40% of the snaps.
You're giving him an idea for a next live show, Nadji. A breakdown of Sammy Womack in Indianapolis.
I'm
We
waiting
might
for me
branch out to a
Indianapolis
new
Colts
channel.
jersey to turn up.
Yeah. The Colts, but keep that for the Colts.
Get that rabbit hole out again, Gareth.
I think you need to let it go, Lee. It's like seeing your ex out with someone better looking than you. You just
Let me try
Let me
let
try
it
and
go.
dig you out of this rabbit hole. I have a question for you. Do you think with Ambry Thomas coming back, hopefully kind of soon, do we think we let Mooney Ward go in the off season to try and get cheaper? If Green and we can probably keep Yadam for
So
a
Ambry
lot of
Thomas
money.
aside, I think we let him go because of Ronaldo Green, not because of Ambry Thomas.
Right. Well, otherwise we would have a bit of a gap, right? Because Green is now playing, and then obviously Lenore is clearly.
Nadji,
I think
you're supposed to save all that stuff for Wednesday when you're coming on the live to talk
Apologies,
about
apologies.
trades. And
I apologize.
it's
That's
all
true.
right.
Well,
I'll
funny
give
enough,
you
I was
right.
just about to
No,
go down that route.
It's just because whilst we talk secondary, we're here raving about Mustafa, and Brown got a pick, which was pretty good, and then Ronaldo Green is, as you said, the highest rated by PFF. It's like, this isn't supposed to happen. Mooney Ward is supposed to be the guy holding the torch and leading the team, and it's just not happening. And it's just this. I don't know. There's something not quite right about his game. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he's not himself. Maybe it's a scheme thing. He's just not adjusted to it yet.
To be
Maybe
fair,
it's just a down year. It happens,
he had 2 pass interference calls against him last night, and I thought the first one was a very soft call
Soft.
indeed.
The one
in
in
the end zone.
End zone, yeah. I
I thought that was incredibly
But
soft.
still, at this point in the season, I expect him to have at least 2 or 3 picks, and be more dominant, and we can talk about him in dominant fashion. And we just
He seemed
haven't.
a little bit off the pace.
Yeah, he does seem a little bit off the pace.
And again, that goes back to my whole point saying the whole defense just doesn't quite look on point. There's something just not right about it. We had 5 missed tackles in the first half, 0 that I could see in the second half. So it did look as though it had been noted and had been mentioned. The first 2 missed tackles were by J.R. Brown. Then D. Winters had a missed tackle. And then both Bosa and Fred had a missed tackle on exactly the same play. So we had 5 missed tackles in the first half, but that seemed to tighten up in the second half. But then we started allowing a lot more air yards.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a strange one because you talked about the defense. When I watched it back earlier, Lee, I thought we were better on third down defense in this game. And aside from Zeke Elliott having 1 run, I think we made them pretty one-dimensional, which we talked about in the show
Yeah.
before
They
the
were always
game.
going
And
to
if
be.
you can't run the ball, we were always going to do that. But I think sometimes, I agree with you, we have to be critical of Sorensen, but I think sometimes you've got to give him credit. I mean, those two players to CD Lamb, you take them apart. Other than that, Dallas were pretty much not doing anything with us. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not saying we played badly. What I'm saying is it just doesn't look. It doesn't look like the defense that we had last year. And I know you can make the argument. Look, we lost some good players last year, but it's not that. Go back to what Nadia always says. It's the eye test. We just don't look the same. We don't look as organised. We don't look as disciplined. Yes, we managed to. We managed to keep a really bad Cowboys team at bay last night. Yet they were still in the game
Yeah.
with 2 minutes left, which is worrying.
That's why I'm. Yeah, I was gonna jump on because after that, when we went up by, we scored 21 points in the third. I think that series where they came down the field and scored. It's just if we stop them here and there and give the ball back to Brock, and they can score again, or just stay on top, just stay with their foot on the throat, and then just really, really hammer the point home that they were never going to win this game. That defense has been lacking now, and it goes back to my point about Dre. I genuinely think we're missing him so very much for that very reason. This is the kind of thing that Dre would bring to the team and to the entire environment. So, I think maybe it's just that. Maybe we're just missing Dre all that much, and as soon as he comes back, hopefully soon, it'll just transform itself. But again, we got brand new defensive coordinator and brand new assistant head coach. So we're still only 8 games in. All these people are still finding a groove, and it should get much, much better, especially after the bye week.
So to be fair to Devondre Campbell, who's obviously
had a better game.
Yeah, he actually had one of his, in fact, his best game for us.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't really understand why we put him in coverage though.
No, I don't know.
He was in coverage against CD Lambert, like early in the first quarter. I was just like,
why? I think it was the very first throw.
It's the scheme, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's just like
requires him to do his job.
You should know. You should know that. According to the formation, just sub. Like they must have subbed out. Just find something else to do. I don't know. We cannot, because good teams are going to do that to us in the playoffs, and it's not going to go well for us.
I think though, like Nadja, you always talk about not blaming the refs, and I'm not blaming the refs.
But we blame the refs because it was Bill Vinovich. Yeah, that
one of those,
goes without saying.
Yeah, but one of those pass interference players extended the drive. And I think when you look at they, even with those 2 ridiculous touchdowns to CD Lamb, Dallas were under 5 yards per play on the day. They went 5 for 13 on 3rd and 4th downs, and we won the turnover battle. So that's why I'm coming in this a bit more positive with the defence. It's not perfect, you're right, Lee, it's not what we've seen. But I think in the Discord chat last night, in the first half, there was a lot of people quick to burn it to the ground, sack Sorensen, sack Shanahan, and I get it, you only scored 6 points at home. But I was saying to Gareth when we were off air, Najee, my friend Chris, who was a Cowboys fan, he texted me at half-time and he was like, pretty much everything that went wrong for your team went wrong. Yeah. And we still only scored 10 points. And that third quarter just goes to show what can happen in football. And when you watch the NFL, there's little fine margins. So I think you're right, Lee. It's something to be concerned about. But I saw some positive signs. We've been pretty good on the first and second plays of the game. It's always been that third down that's extended. And last night we were better. So that's a positive in my book anyway.
Yeah. It's just, the Cowboys are a bad team. So...
They are. We should have put more.
That we haven't mentioned is Evan Anderson.
Mention him then.
Yeah, I thought the snaps that he played, he looked really good. And it just makes us think back to the amount of times that John Chapman has said, why isn't Evan Anderson starting? He should be starting. And he did. He looked really good yesterday. As did Sam Okawanu.
Oh, Sammy boy. He got a sack, didn't he?
Yeah. He's definitely getting better and better. PFF would disagree with you on Evan Anderson's performance, given that he's one of the 3 lowest on the defensive side, with Kalia Davis and Leonard Floyd, who had a disappointing, fairly anonymous game. And I've got to say, he's been reasonably anonymous all season. I think my concern of our defensive line is we don't seem to have much we're into the depth now. We've got no chance for rotation. I think, Bosa's not having the impact we've seen before because he never gets a breather. He's always there and he's always fighting too. That's somewhere. Maybe we'll come on to it a bit later, but maybe that's somewhere where we might look to strengthen in the next week or so.
Funnily enough, I was just about to say that'll change next week when we bring D4 back.
Yeah, right. The rumours.
Wednesday, chap. Wednesday show. But Stop it.
I think to go back to the overall feeling of that defense, I think that what we just talked about kind of touches on this is that all of these fringe guys that we are used to having an impact in a game, the DJ Jones from a few years ago, and there's always that player that we always talk about, Omenihu and all those kind of guys that kind of came in. We didn't expect anything from them and managed to land themselves a massive contract somewhere else because it turned out to be good players. It's just kind of not happened, and I think it would have if maybe Gross Matos would have been around. Obviously, him being on IR, it's just we've been really thin, and we have had to rely on people we probably wouldn't rely on all that much should the defense be whole. I'd say, I think if we have Hargraves, I would imagine that Kalia Davis or Malik Collins would be better, just because fresher and less snaps, and So I think we're just seeing this early season woes, that all these injuries, that kind of like catching us on us, and we're absolutely going to talk about this on Wednesday on the live, but I fully expect us to load up on the D line, at least on the D line. I do feel like it's basically Bossa and nothing else at the moment. So yeah,
and Sam.
Yeah, but again, not quite enough to warrant. Yeah, we need more
excitement. We do. We do need more. We've covered any more rookies? I think we've probably covered everybody. Jacob Cowing's playing, but
Jacob Cowing's playing. Yeah. Good returns.
Playing some
couple of good returns. No mistakes, which is what you want to see.
I was going to say no mistakes, no flags.
Yeah. Like we said on the show before, Nadji, special teams, just do your job, and they did.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah, just about. We've covered defensive boom and bust, or defense not on point. Let's there's only one place left really, which is George Kittle, National Tight Ends Day.
National Tight End Day. Yeah.
Paul, go on then, you can start.
Kittle's the man. We needed a reliable target on Sunday night after Debo went Gareth. George Kittle, National Tight End Day. He loves playing on this holiday. 6 of his 7 targets for 128 yards, a 43-yard gain, which was poetry in motion. I love seeing George trundle up the field, and a touchdown. And Kyle Shanahan was asked after the game how important was it for Purdy to have a reliable receiver, and he said, especially on this holiday, Kittle was the go-to man. And there's been a few people knocking Kittle in our group and saying, he's getting expensive and should we be looking to move on? But he's looking hungry to me. Najee broke another record. I don't have the stats to hand. I'm sure one of you fine gentlemen will help me out.
500th catch.
500 catch. Nice. Very nice.
So, same company as Dwight Clark, Roger Craig.
That's good company indeed. But yeah, George's tendency of just playing well against Dallas. I saw it for myself when I was there 2 years ago. That catch up the middle, I think we all remember, was pretty.
Juggle.
Yeah, the little juggle down the middle was pretty special, and it just showed up. That's exactly what you want.
3 touchdowns last year on his birthday as well, Najee, against Dallas.
Right. That's what you want from your, all-pro veteran players, to show up when it matters and when they're needed, and he just did that. It's good. It's great to see. Especially with, as we said, Debo not playing the second half. We needed somebody, and it wasn't going to be one of the rookies. It was always going to be George, and he just delivered on National Tight End Day. Whatever you think about that holiday, I think it's pretty funny, really.
Well, I've got a stat to back it up, Najee. National Tight End Day. I alluded at the start. Noah, I know you're a Cowboys fan. I know you like to listen. The reference was his star shone bright. I had to get the star reference in. But Kittle's touchdown reception was the 175th catch by a tight end on National Tight End Day. It was an all-time NFL record for receptions by tight ends in a single day. And like you said, Najee, Club 85, we know he plays well against Dallas. Sean, I know you were worried, buddy, about Kittle sharing some stuff on his social media, but it didn't blow up in his face. And that spike in the end zone is something you always love to see. So I just wanted to get that in there before everybody else jumped in.
Nice.
And no 10 grand fine, I don't think, this game, unless I missed it.
He did have it on. I think he did have it on. There was a
yeah.
picture of the post show, and I think he did have it on.
Yeah.
Maybe
He
if the
was
game
talking to
This
Ferguson
is
at the
lucky
end,
shirt.
Najee.
Yeah,
Ferguson said, "Have you got the T-shirt on?" And he leant in, and the camera's there. He went, "Yeah, but I don't want to pay the fine."
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
I mean, fair enough. I think now it's all in the consensus of everybody. It just needs to show a bit of grey underneath, and we all know that he'll have it. So that's good to see. Yeah.
That's all our talking points. There's a couple of little bits on my notes that none of us actually got to on the talking points because we all picked the same sort of thing. I thought the offense we looked a bit like our old selves. Short, quick passes, the crossing routes, the big one from Kittle. Several of the passes went to Purcell were getting the ball out quickly, taking the 5, 6, 7 yards. Good to see. Step backwards. Where's this been? If this is successful now, where's this been? Or is Shanahan trying to do something different? Try and make some sense of it for us all.
I think we touched on it. I think we said he's trying to reinvent yourself, and you have to in the NFL. You have to change things ever so slightly, otherwise you get fined out, and it's very difficult for you to do anything as an offensive coordinator. And I think him having Cowing and Purcell and Garando in there has obliged them to go back a little bit and make things a little simpler, which is that quick game. And yeah, it seems like people haven't figured out how to stop it. And maybe, I mean, he did clearly listen to the pod because we have been calling for it, as we said earlier. So yeah, I think it's just, not every week's going to look the same. And again, all the games that we lost and even the ones that we won, there were so many plays in there that we did try to do. There were those plays that just didn't work for whatever reason. And sometimes in sports, you try something and it doesn't work. Sometimes you try the exact same thing and it does work. That's what makes sports so great. Yeah, I'm not worried. I think Kyle did call a pretty good game. And it clearly shows what that offense can be and will be as soon as it's full strength and all the pieces are finally gelled together and connected together, and all those rookies understand all the concepts and the nuances and all that. It's there. It's just been difficult to get it up onto the surface.
Do you not think it showed in the game plan, Nadji? I said at the start, Gareth, one of the talking points was red zone offense because people have been worried. We've moved the ball, got the red zone, but we looked, like you said, back to the team of old.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have scored 4 out of 4. Basically, Garendo slid down.
Yeah.
But when you go back and you watch the game tape back, Purdy, back-to-back games, quarterback sneak, that's not a bad weapon to have in your arsenal. So he's got 2 rushing touchdowns. Garendo ran 1 in. Kittle wide open because Chris Conley, friend of the show, managed to take 2 defenders out.
I know.
And I think that's what goes to show. Johnny Dell was on with me and Lee a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying, "Faithful, don't panic. I've watched every offensive snap. Yeah. It's there." Maybe, Gareth, that's why I was so positive in the Discord chat last night, because it was taking a turn for the worse. People were getting all negative, and I was like, honestly, chaps, we're not a million miles away. It is clicking. We just need certain players to step up. And that third quarter was reminiscent of the NFC Championship game last year against Detroit. It was just great to come out all guns blazing. What do you reckon, Lee? Good to see the offense back?
Yeah, it is, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. Do you not think we looked so successful last night because the Cowboys were just so poor?
No, yes, because but also
we
were trying it. We were trying and executing fairly.
It should have been the other way around though. That team was off their bye. They should have had more gas in the third quarter, not us. The fact that this has worked in the third and probably dipped a little bit in the fourth is purely because we're on week 8 and they were just after the bye. So no, I think that was just good execution and good play calling.
And I think Zimmer tried. He was putting 6-7 man fronts. He was trying to blitz. Kendricks was back. He made a difference.
He did, yeah.
Dallas were getting a bit healthier.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned about Kendricks. So there's something I noticed in the third quarter. He might have done it twice in the third. He did do it twice in the third quarter. So hip drop tackle. So he had a hip drop tackle on Garendo, completely missed by the officials. That was at pretty much the start of the third quarter, 11 minutes 22 on the clock. And then later on, he had another one on George Kittle with 4:35 left. So I went back and rewatched the game in 40 again to see if he was doing any more than that. It just so happens those were the only two he did. But Fred Warner also had one in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, 3:56 left. And I went online just to double check that what I was seeing was what you'd class as a hip drop tackle. And they were absolutely textbook hip drop tackles. And the guy that was I watched, can't remember his surname, he used to be an offensive lineman, Seth somebody or the other. He basically turned around and said, look, it's the first season that this rule's been in. You're asking people to change something that they've been doing for the last 10, 15 years. So I'm not going to call out any defenders for hip drop tackles until they've had a good opportunity to basically practice it out of the system. So I just thought I'd mention that because when I saw them, the way it looked, I thought, you know what, that could have been very, very bad. That could have been very dangerous for the for whoever it was. It was Guerrero and George Kittle at the time. That could have ended up in injuries. Mm-hmm. So I kind of do understand now that I know what they're talking about hip drop tackles.
Yeah.
Why they're trying to outlaw it.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole process on that front. I think mentioning it this year, probably not enforcing it as much, but probably talking about it in whatever the NFLPA is, all the message that can come across all the players, being like, just remember, here's an example of what not to do. You didn't get called on it, but I would imagine next year, preseason, we're going to see so many flags for things like that. And week 1, week 2, week 3 is going to be crazy. And then people are just going to change slowly how to tackle and how not to do it exactly. And then it's just going to disappear. But you can't, it's very hard if you've been tackling one way for 20 years or so, if 10 years to all of a sudden change it. It happened to me. Like we used to hit people and then we got told that we had to wrap and basically slide down, and I was just like, I can't do it. I'm full speed. My brain just, there's no time for it. I'm just gonna hit people and as hard as I can, and I know it's not good for me or for the people, but that's how I learned, and that's how I'm gonna play the game. And it took me two years to basically at practice forcing myself to put my head on the other side and to wrap her, which it's very, very difficult. But yeah.
I mentioned Kendricks, Gareth, because Brock Purdy had a poor first half. Again, we can be critical on this show. But Shanahan adjusted in that second half. You talk about offensively, Brock Purdy had 56 rushing yards, which was the same as the Dallas rushing yards on the ground. So Brock's grumbling. I know we all have our heart in our mouth when he dives head first.
God,
but he kind of showed last night in that second half that's when to do it. And he was better. I mean, we called for 300. Well, I called for 300 yards from Brock before Dallas on Sunday. He went for 260 in the end, Gareth. 18 for 26.
40 yards rushing, so that is 300.
8 carries for 56 yards. But, I think Kyle Shanahan needs a lot of credit for getting the offense changed in that second half. And I think maybe having the consistent pieces that he had, Purcell, Debo, Kittle. So yeah, I know we're going down a rabbit hole, but that's what.
No, that was one of the things that Purdy had a more effective game. I think he looked more comfortable. I think perhaps with the game plan, with those easier passes that we've seen from him in 2 years, and we think Shanahan's maybe trusted him and taken off the training wheels and made it a little bit too complex. That possibly part of what we've seen. Or just tried something we're not maybe quite ready for. It certainly, to me, the offense was back to its old self. I did have those concerns about the defense of once again letting a team hang around when we should have put them away.
I feel like it's more of a team thing now. We should have scored another touchdown, maybe early fourth, late third.
It's that complementary football. If the offense scores, we need to back that up with a stop and get either a long drive or points again. Go through that complementary football. And I still don't think we've put together really a good half of football. We put together a quarter, or sometimes the offense is good for a quarter, or the defense is good for a quarter. I was most disappointed. Dallas scored, got their last points of the game. We had about 3.5 minutes to salt the game away, and we went 3 and out, and that was very disappointing to me to have to put it back on our defense. And fair enough, it was Dak, and they 4th and 10, and he threw another wobbler somewhere else. But a better team would have punished us for that.
Yeah.
I thought it's
Yeah.
only 3.5 minutes. We used to do this. We used to be able to have a score lead or something like that, and salt away 6 minutes with the run game. Fair enough, we haven't got Christian McCaffrey, but I was disappointed we couldn't get more off the clock there and make it more tough. Once again, I think the defense and the offense can't quite get those back-to-back series where we can put the game away. But let's not finish on something so negative.
But it's there, and you can. I think this is why people are getting really annoyed. Is because we can feel it. We can feel that it's there. It's just so very close to be happening, and it's not. Mostly because of ourselves. It's been rare that we've faced a team, apart maybe from the Vikings that week too, that really shown us that they were better than us. And
Chiefs.
I think that's where the frustration. I don't think so. I think we could have won that game fairly handedly. We just played well. We just didn't.
Yeah.
And so
had we just scored more points than them, we would have won.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I think as the eye test, I do feel like we do look like we could just be unbeatable, and we're so very close of not being quite there, and it's very frustrating because if you're the Panthers and you're clearly terrible, you watch a game and you lose, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I expected this, but with us, it's just as that third quarter shown, we can be absolutely dominant, and then it disappears, and then it reappears for a little bit, and then so I think as soon as we tie all together and we play complementary football, it'll be all back and we'll be fine.
I hope it's the bye week that's going to sort that, because we still have that touch of pre-season about us, still that touch of rust.
And that's what injuries do to a team.
Yeah, that's injuries. That's pre-season. Anyway, shall we move on to something much more positive? My points on the score predictions league.
Oh dear.
How did everyone else do?
I'd rather talk about Lenore, to be fair, but I would give you a moment in the sun, Gareth.
That pick was sick.
Oh, no, do you want to move? Yeah. I've always got time for
Scorby. We've talked about the secondary.
We've talked about it.
He's
Go
good.
On,
we know he's good.
He is
Go
good.
Ducks.
Have you got the table lined up, Najee?
No, I don't, but I can do hopefully. I'm already sharing my screen, so I'm not sure.
After we record, I completely forget what you say on your prediction. So genuinely, I'll sit there and not quite sure how we've been doing.
I will. It's there. I just don't have the admin rights anymore. I need one of you two to press the button, please. For the people online, there we go. There it is. Cavers, thankfully, once again, failed the prediction for the faithful, which are still in the lead. Look at that. It's very annoying. Anyway, everybody scored 5 points except for Gareth and the podcast faithful with 7, 31-17, 27-17. So the closest. I'm so annoyed with myself because I keep thinking that we're gonna get there, and then we score 21 points in a quarter, and I'm like, oh, cool. All we have to do is do that again, and then I'm bang on, and then we don't do it. So it's annoying, but I'll get there. Right. So the standing looks like this. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. If you're listening, podcast faithful, you're in the lead with 38 points. Gareth second with 35 points. So not far behind. Lee is third with 32. I'm fourth, with 31. And Paul bringing the rear with 26. I can't exactly remember. I know Anthony is still leading with something ridiculous.
He's got 45 points.
No, he's got 56, I think. Yeah. It's ridiculous the amount of point that man has. I can't remember. A couple of people scored 12 points this week. Congratulations. I should really just look it up and
enjoy those dirty points, Anthony.
It was only victory. One. It was only once. So let me bring it up. If you want to talk about something else, I will.
We got something for Boldies, right? I think we didn't get the 3 interceptions. I had Garendo for his first TD.
You did. I did have a couple of picks, right? But it wasn't Brown. I think
I
I
think
had
you
I had Mooney Ward with a pick.
and forced fumbles, which I think did we force 3 and didn't even get a sniff of
Yeah, we didn't
recovering
get
any
any
of them.
recovery. Yeah, that's right.
Just one
Yeah,
of the
so-
ways
So
it goes.
interestingly, Fred Warner forced one, but it was accredited to Diamondala, no?
Right, very.
Mm.
Yeah, Dak given turnovers though, Gareth.
I mean,
that was
yeah, that's-
low picking through. Sorry, Cowboys fans listening. Not sorry.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the names of the people that performed really well this week. That is James Powell with 12 points. Congrats. And
12s.
Craig Conley with another 12 points. Special mention to Matthew Mullins, 10 points. That's pretty good week. But Anthony is still in the lead with 52. Which, if he was on this podcast, would make us look very ridiculous. So congrats, Anthony. I think
So up until
not over.
3 minutes and 44 seconds in the fourth quarter, I had 12 points.
It happens. It happens. But there it is.
As someone once said on this show, Lee, predict better. That is the mantra that I am
exactly
taking.
the mantra.
Predict better.
Just predict better. It's not that hard, apparently.
Super Bowl hangover is real for Paul
Yeah,
Hope, but
Paul
at
is-
least
Paul
I've
is
got
struggling.
a winner's trophy. That's all I'm
That's
going to say.
But we're about halfway, aren't we? So all to play for, really.
We are, and it's the bye week, so everyone who's playing might think they've got the week off, but we
No.
are going to spring a little surprise on you. We can't possibly have a week of the NFL go by without some scores
Absolutely
to predict,
not.
and just because there's not a Niners game, that is not going to stop us. I think we've got the wheel of positivity to randomly choose.
So
Matthew,
we've
take it away.
randomly put some games on that wheel. If you're on YouTube, you can have a look. It's completely fair. There is no bias here. I'm just going to spin the wheel and see what happens. And then that will be the game that we will be calling this week. And it will count. It will count, because why not? I believe that is. Oh yes, it's Rams versus Seahawks.
No,
Wow. I would never have guessed that it was going to be
No, I
Rams
would have
versus
never guessed
Seahawks.
either.
That's
Very
worked out
surprising,
That is
nicely.
such a shock.
That's
Shocker.
worked out
And I
nicely.
see
I
West
mean, it works.
game.
It kind of makes sense. It's our division,
It
right?
does, it does.
But yeah, didn't see that coming with all the odds that I put on the wheel. Go have a look on YouTube. Here we go.
One
So
of
we'll
many-
do Rams Seahawks, and please predict who's going to win that game. Good luck.
So do you know when we get to week 17 or week 18 when we decide the winner and there's a couple of points in it? At what point does Lee allow to throw
hang on
his
here.
challenge?
Hang on
There's
here.
games
The winner's
after
not
week
going to
18.
be. I was going to say the winner's not going to be decided until the Super Bowl, mate.
Yeah.
Because we'll be in the Super
competition
Bowl.
goes all the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely goes all the way.
but there we are. So yes, a normal game prediction. Pick your winner. Pick the scores
winner, pick the
for
score.
each team. Usual points will be available. But yeah, we can't have a week off. It's too dull.
It
to
is
let
too
a
dull.
week go by without having sticking our necks out on the line.
And
There
then
we are.
we had to choose. Sorry, the wheel had to choose
The wheel. Yeah.
Sorry, there was no choosing whatsoever. It's completely random. Completely random.
Do we want you want to save some stuff for the live show this Wednesday? Obviously, trades. Anything you want to talk about, or are you just going to save? Keep your powder dry for the.
No,
live show?
I do want to talk about Discord real quick. Obviously, people moving over from Facebook. We have brand new people coming in, and some people don't really understand how it works, which is completely fair. We will teach you, but I also know, and I'm going to tell you right now that if you don't change your tune by being negative in a chat, I'll just kick you out. I don't care. Like, Discord is about positivity, and it's not a Facebook group, which is the main thing. So it's very. I mean, you will get kicked out of Facebook if you're being not cool, but on Discord it will take a lot less. So all of the people that have been negative during the first and second quarter, I wasn't there to police it. Kevin and Paul did a really good job and they're really nice, but that just doesn't fly on Discord. If you come here to say fire Coach Shanahan because we score 3 points, that's not gonna fly. So you had this week off and you've got a bye week, so we're not gonna have a game day thread. But in the next one, which is against the Bucks, I'll just kick you out of Discord.
Zero tolerance. He's a hard
my
No
man.
tolerance.
He is, but
Hard
what my good
man.
friend Nadji is, what I want to say is, I'm known for being more positive.
Yeah.
Maybe I look on the positive side a lot more. All we ask, Nadji, is people bring the same energy.
Yeah, that's it.
It's fine being negative, being constructive, but then in the second half, when things are going well,
Those people
you
disappear.
disappear.
Yeah.
And I to be honest
No,
with you, I said
I
to
don't
Gareth
have-
off air, I text Kev and I said, you know what, Nadji, this isn't for me tonight. It's a bit too negative.
Yeah.
I should be leading
that's
by example. And
that-
I gave up, but I didn't give up. I was lurking in the background.
know,
And as
but
soon
this
as
is-
the tide turned, I was straight back in. And to be fair, it did turn around. So the
It
game
did,
day thread went
it did,
back to
but-
what you want it to be.
But this is the problem of people coming in and being negative, is that it pushes people that want to be positive completely away, because it turns into this horrible. They're already feeling bad. They don't want to read about horrible stuff on top of it. So this is why there is absolutely zero tolerance. If you don't come here to have fun on Discord, you won't be there. You're allowed to be frustrated. You're allowed to be angry. Just don't say on Discord. To go and say it somewhere else. Discord is about positivity. The game thread is about positivity. We're here to support the team and support each other and have fun watching the game together, even when the game isn't fun, which is the hardest thing to do. But so this is what I'm saying, and I will not care. I have full power, and I will use it.
I can say it's definitely gone to your head. It's,
Absolutely,
yeah.
but I'll
So
be
to
fair,
quote-
and you've been warned. So
To quote a very good member, don't be a fun sponge.
yeah, that's right. Don't be a fun sponge.
And on a positive note, Henry, he forgot the after dark rules.
Oh.
And he waited till about 2:30, 3 in the morning, and we were like, it's a prime time game, Henry. After dark kicks
After
in
dark,
early
yeah.
doors. But to be fair, like we've said before, when you're being an NFL fan in the UK, it's a lonely existence.
Yeah.
You sat at home, prime time, you're watching the game. So like you said, just join in, have some fun. We won the game. We beat the Cowboys. George Kittle scored his touchdown on
There you go.
National Titan Day. It was
There you
all
go.
good, Nadji.
All
But you
good.
were missed. But a big shout out to Kev. He was obviously taking charge in your
Kev's
absence.
legend.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Kev, well done, buddy.
Well done indeed. Yeah, there was no way. I was asleep by half then. So.
And the live, Gareth, we
Ooh.
finally, people thought, where can you go after Patrick Willis? We have secured Nadji Carrar, and he's done an El Presidente tease. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see him pointing right now.
Ooh.
Right there.
He's got his Patrick Willis Jordan Spector card. It is sealed.
It is
And
sealed.
Nadji will open it live on air. So
Well
on
done.
Wednesday's live, we're going to talk about trade, we're going to talk about team.
Yep.
But more importantly, Nadji's joining us.
I
And he's
think-
showing us what card he's
I
got.
think Anthony will be in the chat too. He's actually waiting for Wednesday, I believe. So he'll probably be in the chat. Maybe we can bring him on. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
And see what card he got. And then one of us might be very disappointed. Or if they're both one of ones, we'll be absolutely ecstatic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, to make you feel better, if it is only a base card,
Oh,
there's only 974 of them in
I will
circulation.
still be
So,
happy. I don't really.
Yeah.
I'm not in the collecting game, as you can see. This is all stuff I got pretty much for free. So this is my kind of my first one. So actually, no, I bought the flag. And that brings me to another PSA. Very quick. It was about a week when I ordered this. It was about £12, and it's perfect. And you can unsubscribe from the SMS. I haven't had any text whatsoever, and you can have everything by email. And then as soon as you get the proofing email, you can unsubscribe to that, and then you don't get any emails either. So no, it's good. Very good service from Banner UK or whatever the site is. Yeah, there we go.
Wonderful. Any more PSAs?
Uh,
No. We'll
No.
save anything else to Wednesday. You
Yeah,
struggle-
Wednesday.
You always struggle for things to talk about, don't you?
That's true. Yeah. The only thing that we're gonna take a week off, so there won't be any podcasts on Thursday or Friday. We'll come back Monday, probably doing some kind of trade deadline, because the deadline is Tuesday midday. So by that time, hopefully, we'll see something. We can talk about whether we signed. Maybe we'll do a show Tuesday night. I don't know, but yeah, we're gonna take a week off. So yeah, there you go. Apologies. Just re-listen to an old podcast. Download it, re-listen to it. Give us some views. It's good.
Go back and listen to the podcast from the last time we beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was good. I was
enjoy
actually
it.
that's a great one to listen to.
Yeah.
I was in San Francisco, and you guys I called you live from the pier, I believe. So there you go. That was good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you to everyone who listens to the show. Don't forget to do all the liking and subscribing and other things we don't bother to mention most of the time anymore. But as it is bye week, perhaps we won't see you at the back end of the week. But you can enjoy Victory Week. But because it's a bye, that means technically we get a Victory 2 weeks. So enjoy that, doing whatever you want. And we shall look forward to Rams Seahawks. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Nana gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't